Welcome to Pagan Crafting. I'm your host, Cara. Today on Nature Grimoire with me, we're going to look at Celtic Astrology. With each tree has a planet, animal, and deity ruler. We'll have that represented in the correspondence, and we'll have the personality traits. This mixed media 5-layer beautiful page I want to share with you today. Join me today as we learn some Celtic astrology. Starting off with a blank page, this is our absolute center of this signature. So I'm just going to be using 3 colors, a dark and a lighter shade of orange, a mandarin orange and pumpkin orange. Then I'm going to be fading that into a golden yellow, like a sunflower yellow. And this is just the first step, so it doesn't need to be perfect. I just want this to be easy and carefree. Bringing in our second color, we're overlapping half the color onto the orange. And I don't rinse out the brush between change of colors, so I don't mind that there's a little bit of orange left on the yellow here, because it's going to be bringing in some cooler textures and some nice blends. I'm trying to avoid the little tie in the center because I love how it's like embroidery thread green. So I think that'll offset this one really nicely. Now I'm just going to let that dry for a little while. Now I wound up having to do 2 coats of yellow because the first round wasn't dark enough for me. I have this beautiful mandala stencil that I just got. This is the first time using one of them out of the set. I'm using some Distress Oxide, this looks like a lighter green. It's actually a gorgeous sage green. And so I'm just having fun. I'm doing some lighter, some darker, bringing it out. I love how that's popping out. So I'm going to use that around the outskirts. Some parts are going to overlap the yellow, but I'm going to try to keep it mainly on the orange. And again, try not to think about it too much. Just overlap it, have some fun with it. And then this one I decided to fill a space a little bit more, the yellow. I like it. Ooh, now we're gonna play with some modeling paste. This is new to me. Look at that. First time ever opening one and seeing one. Let's just grab a little tiny bit. I'm gonna be mixing them with some different colors of green. So I'm only grabbing, not even half a teaspoon. You want to use a super fine, thin coating with your stencils, but you can change the color of the modeling paste. So I'm using some sage green, some leaf green, and I also made some pine forest green. But I wound up not using it. I wound up being not the colors I felt like rocking in. But, just seeing how it turned out. Sometimes when you're mixing it with white, it can go a little bit lighter. Leaving it, I'm not mixing it completely. I was leaving in some of the white on purpose to give a little bit more play to it when I'm laying down. I only, again, very fine, thin coating. And I'm just aiming for the center flower. It's almost like icing a cake, just very, very, very fine. Now I didn't do anything too fancy. I just brought in the leaf green colors on the outer layers of this one. And it turned out great. Oh my gosh. So I let that dry before I put down the next stencil. I'm just scraping off some excess that I don't want to have on there. You can get it while it's still wet, and you can scrape that off and you can't even know. So now the reason why I wanted to wait till that is dried before I apply the next layer is I didn't want the stencil itself to overlap the fresh one and then cause any damage at all. Now I'm just using the center flower again with this one and bringing in some of that. Now I did mix a little bit more. Again, just half a teaspoon of each color. Ooh, I did some fun with the coloring there. I'm really liking this one. Now we have some PDF downloads for you as well. So those of you who are part of my Patreon, this would be part of your gift from me to you. And if you're not part of my Patreon, you can download these on my Etsy store. I have the description of the Etsy store website address and my Patreon link in the description down below. Now on each of these I'll have the name of the tree, the 13 different zodiacs for it. So the name of the tree, the planet, animal, and deity rulers, and then I've created a quick little write-up of each personality. I've used about 3 different resources. Some of it's my own knowledge, some of it's resources, and brought it in, and I kind of made a neat little personality for each Celtic astrology, each tree. Now this may be a bit of novelty, but this is just fun, and I thought it would look cool in my nature grimoire. Now you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just spraying some craft acrylic paint, maybe a teaspoon, not very much at all. And what we're going to do, we're going to fill that up with water. We're going to put everything back together and we're going to shake it for a really long time. Maybe give yourself about 3 minutes. And now what I'm doing here, mine does mist out spray, but if you hold your finger over the right way and depress the nozzle a little slower, see how it goes mist? It still does, but if you depress a little slower, you actually get some really nice tie-dyed ink splatter effects. Going in with the yellow, having some fun, dripping off the excess there, coming in with a paper towel and touching up where I need, because I do want that orange to bleed a little bit, but I don't want it to pool over some of the wording and lettering so that you can't read it. So just dabbing off any excess, and I'm adding in some yellows into the spaces over top because we're going to cut that out around it. Now that those are all dried, let's cut a few of these out. Now you're going to want to print out 2 of everything because we're going to go back and we're going to cut out the trees, but on white paper. So you can cut these out if you want and then dye them all, but I think it's a little bit more organic, a little more natural looking if you probably color the whole sheet first and then you can cut it out. So what I've done here, I've cut out each, place it around the yellowish, so now you don't really see the odd blendings that I created. Now you can see kind of my vision, what's happening. We got some distress oxide. I got this gorgeous orange. It's another kind of a pumpkin orange. And I'm just taking away the white edges on this. And giving a little bit of extra around the corners. We're going to be bringing that into the center, and I'm just going to fold the paper because, again, this is the very center of my signature and I want this to be able to fold in on itself. I got some gorgeous ribbon from Michael's craft store, and this color I went and had to seek out, my friends, but I did find it. Another one that would look nice if you can't find the orange ribbon, a sage green or a green would look really sharp with this this Celtic spread too. Now you can see what I'm using is an odd tube of glue. What it is silicone. It's a small tube of silicone, and I'm using that because there's so many textures going on here, especially when I'm gluing over top of the molding paste. If I just use some white glue, it may not get in the nooks and crannies and adhere that paper down. But as I squish down the silicone paste there, then it's going to turn out pretty cool. Now we're going to go back to our white paper. I'm going to fussy cut out the little ones and match each with like the vine to the hazel, holly, oak, and so on. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a little bit of probably distress oxide on it too. So give me a moment while I cut these out here. And at first I wasn't quite sure where I was gonna place it. So I didn't want to place it over top of my ribbon because I really love the effects of the burst of the energy that comes off the center. So I decided to just wait, cut them all out, think about it, and it'll come to me. Sometimes you just gotta wait and just cut them all out. They'll find a home. Sometimes when I can't pick a color, I go by process of elimination. So I have a golden amber, I have the pumpkin orange, and I have the sage green. I wound up going with the pumpkin, or was it I wound up going with the amber. I haven't used that one yet actually in one of my spreads. This is a new distress oxide I just bought. Now I'm going to be going lightly around the edges. I'm not going to tie-dye this. Just give a little bit here and there, and enough to keep the element of the color of the tree in there, or the vine or reed. So each one will get a little bit of love there and some amber golden goodness. Just touching up one there. Now, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to place it behind, kind of to the side, up and to the side of it. So touching the rings. And if you can see how the rings, I have the 6 on one side and 7 on the other. And they are placed around in order. If you place them around the right way, then you'll have a perfect cycle of the entire year as well. Now here we have it. I absolutely love modeling paste, and I'm going to be using that in a lot more of my spreads. Boy, does it add extra love and light. I absolutely adore it. Loving the layers and the colors of the green meets orange. Well, thanks so very much for chilling out with me today, and enjoy your new PDF download for this ongoing nature grimoire with me.